the 947 kilometers of railway line is a narrow gauge line. The narrow gauge line, in simple terms, is the Old Testament. Nobody does a narrow gauge line today. Everybody does a standard gauge line. Trains on the standard gauge line go faster, it's wider, and even when it comes to buying rolling stock at the trains, it's difficult to get a narrow gauge rolling stock. In fact, very few countries today use narrow gauge, and for various reasons, we've moved as a nation to standard gauge. For the first time in the history of our country, we are developing standard gauge railway lines, and I'll start with the Western Line. The Western Line starts from Sekondi Takoradi and ends in Kumasi. The Western Line is approximately 303 kilometers. I say approximately because that is going to change. That is going to change because the narrow gauge is a winding line, because it travels very slowly and it goes from town to town. And there are so many curves, but the standard gauge will go faster and will go straighter. So eventually it may be shorter than the 303 kilometers. In 2017, we signed a contract with Messrs. Amandi to construct 5 kilometers of the Western Line from a place called Kojokrom in the Western region, Sekondi Takoradi, to Ishim. That is an ongoing project. They have reached a critical point. They are creating a viaduct. The viaduct is a bridge in railway language. And that viaduct that they are creating is arguably one of the longest viaducts in West Africa. I was there yesterday. I saw it myself, and I must congratulate them for doing an excellent job. We gave them an additional 17 kilometers to go from a place called Ishim to Mansu. The reason why we ended at Mansu is that Mansu is the end of our double line. The line from Sekondi Takoradi is doubled until it reaches Mansu. And we gave them a contract up to Mansu because if they had gone further than Mansu, they would have affected the operations of the Ghana Railway Company Limited, which is operating its narrow gauge train line by the side. Ladies and gentlemen, Amandi's program is on course. I asked them yesterday that they should finish next year. They smiled, they didn't clap. But we've started a program of enhanced monitoring, where every 2 weeks we visit the site. And I'm confident that with 22 kilometers, with Amandi's experience, I'm confident that next year, by about August, and I'm looking at their faces, they would have finished up to Mansu. Recently, Ghana Railway Development Authority, Mr. Dombo, signed another contract with China Wuju to do another 100 kilometers of that line. You recall that the president in the State of the Nation address promised the people of Ghana that he is dedicating $1 billion to the railway sector. Together with the various officials and agencies in the railway sector, we decided to give 500 million of that to the Western Line and another 500 million to the Central Spine. 500 of that to the Western Line takes us to Dunko. Dunko is the junction from where you can either go straight up to Kumasi or you go to Awasu. The contract has been signed, subject to approval by Parliament, by the Finance Minister, by the President, by the Executive, and I'm very confident that we'll get all the approvals. In fact, we went to China with members of the committee, and what we saw, that what they had done already in China, very impressive. The pictures are outside. They are building a massive railway line under the Great Wall. So the Western Line development is on course. It is standard gauge. It is 160 kilometers per hour. That's a new thing as well. Previously, in 2013, what was being done was 120 kilometers per hour. We've changed it. We've come to 160 kilometers per hour because 120 kilometers per hour is the Old Testament. We are competing not with cars, we are competing with planes. And if you go 120 kilometers per hour and you spend $4 million more just to go 120 kilometers per hour, then we have a difficulty with that. So now we are going 160 kilometers per hour, not 120 kilometers per hour. Another change we've made is that the axle load is no longer 21 tons, now it's 25 tons. And what that means is that we'll have a straighter line, we'll have a stronger line, we'll have a line that can last the test of time. With regards to Dunkwao to Kumasi, which is 103 kilometers, and Dunkwao to Awaso, which is 73 kilometers, we already have offers of people who are interested in joining us to develop it. The development of the Western Line to date, up to Donko, is being funded completely by the government of Ghana. How we'll fund the remainder, we have various options. People want to join us, we rather join hands with people or do it ourselves. The reason why government decided to fund the Western Line by itself is that government decided that it was not going to give out all its lines on a BOT basis. Because a BOT basis means that you virtually lose control of that line for about 20, 30 years. And government felt that for us to create a railway industry, there must be parts of our network that belongs to the government of Ghana. And strategically, we have chosen the Western Line to either belong to government of Ghana 100%, or the majority of the Western Line should belong to government of Ghana. If the line doesn't belong to the government of Ghana, it may not only affect our railway industry, it can also affect the Ghana Railway Company Limited. So, ladies and gentlemen, in my respectful view, the development of a new modern standard gauge Western Line is very much on course. The Chinese, hopefully, will also work hard, and it's my hope that by October 2020, we would have gone past Takwa and will be near Dunko. The Chinese are doing from Manso to Dunko. Amandi, which is a Ghanaian Israeli company, is doing from Kojokro to Manso. The Eastern Line. The Eastern Line is a line that starts in Accra, Tema, and ends in Kumasi. We decided to develop the Eastern Line using a BOT model with government participation. Build, operate, and transfer. We started with about 100 companies, and by the time we ended, there were 5 companies standing. The 5 companies standing, we chose one as the preferred bidder. 2 of the other 4 have given us petitions. We are looking at the petitions. I'm a lawyer. I believe that when somebody petitions you, you have to give him a hearing. But for me, the wonderful thing about what is happening is that I was told by everybody, including some people in this room who I'm looking at, I won't mention their names, but they know themselves, that it was impossible to develop this any railway line through BOT. I was told by people in Ghana, I was told by ministers responsible for railway out of Ghana, some of them in Africa, some of them in Europe. And by God's grace, we have 3 out of the 5 who are fighting with each other to come and develop the line. I think it's a good thing. I mean, it's such a good thing that we have been recognized. Ghana's new model for developing a major infrastructure as railway has been recognized in some very serious publications. And I'm happy to report that I've even been invited to UK to a major legal conference to address them on how we are using BOT to develop a railway line. Because railway is difficult. It's expensive. It's a big ticket infrastructure project. And if you can use railway to develop, if you can use BOT to develop railway, then perhaps you can use it to develop almost every infrastructure project. The cost of railway as against roads is about 1 to 4. And so I thank God that the president continued to support us, even though I'm sure that some of the people who told me it wouldn't work also went to tell him it wouldn't work. But the president continued to support us. The cabinet continued to support us. The vice president continued to support us. And today, out of the 5 who bid for the Eastern Line, 3 of them are rolling over saying that we should give the line to them. I'll look at it. And at the end of the day, in a very short while, we shall come to a conclusion. So the Eastern Line development is also totally under control. I think that we are on course. With regards to the Eastern Line, the government of Ghana intends to maintain a certain percentage of it. We intend to maintain 30% of the line because we don't want to give away any of our lines completely. I've been asked the question, how long will the concession period be? That's all part of the negotiation. But I just want to assure the people of Ghana that we shall negotiate in their best interest. And we shall negotiate hard, and we shall negotiate long, and we shall make sure that the people of Ghana get value for money. Now, the Eastern Line and the Western Line brings us to Kumasi. Kumasi, it is Ghana. Kumasi is not even half of the way to the north. And since independence, or since 1898, when the first railway line was laid in Sekondi, no railway line has gone beyond Kumasi. The president said that he's going to Paga. That's the charge he gave us, and we are working on it.